Welcome to the Anchorage podcast. Today I will be interviewing Jacob.
Hello.
Jacob, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I am originally from South Georgia. I am 21 years old, and I have been working here at the Anchorage for about 3 years as a counselor, and then also sometimes in the off season doing various program and op staff work.
What what are some of the unique aspects of you said off season? What are some of the unique things that you're able to do in the off season that you aren't able to do in the summer?
Yeah. So the summer, I would say, is a lot more. As a counselor, I am just very occupied, spending time with campers and specifically focusing on them and pouring into them a lot. The off season, I think you really get to build good relationships with other staff members, and really get to just see a different aspect of the work, a different side of things, and kind of really opens that up. Like as a counselor, I just see more of the camper side of things, but when I'm kind of put in that position in the off season, it's good for like relationship building and just really seeing what the rest of the staff are typically doing and learning a lot of those good skills as well.
Mhm. Why would it be important for people your age to work a summer or brief time at a Christian ministry?
I think that there are several good reasons. Really, for me, it's been a life changing experience that truly, like, nothing has really pushed me in my walk with the Lord, like really being here, the reliance that you have to have, and just like really depending on Christ, and it really gives you a place that growth is encouraged. And so I think that's a huge thing that it gets you kind of working into that state, the state of mind of like ministry. This is I want to serve the Lord in everything that I have and give my all. Spend and be spent for the kingdom. And so I think I think that's something that everybody, even if you're not seeking to do any kind of full time ministry or anything like that, I think it's important, and it builds a lot of those habits in your life and a lot of those desires that you can really like see the working and the will of the Lord through a lot of this. And I think it builds incredible friendships and relationships that you can kind of just hold to in life of like-minded similar people that love the Lord, and just really you just get to see his goodness and his plan like nothing else at a ministry like this.
Mhm. Are any of those particular themes that you mentioned, were any of those especially highlighted this summer?
This summer, I would say, just has been a lot of the dependence. um, it kind of feels like, I've worked 3 summers now, but it's like every consecutive summer it's like I learn, I have this deeper dependence in the Lord.
Mhm.
That the first summer there's still a little bit of that. Oh, I'm gonna do it my own way. I'm gonna kind of figure it out myself. But by the third summer, it's very much just like the humble spirit of I don't really know what I'm doing, and I kind of accept that ultimately I'm not gonna really fully understand anything. But I'm gonna be practiced. I'm gonna be trained. I'm gonna be ready to handle situations. But ultimately, God is the one that guides. God is the one that provides, and it's His strength that would allow this to happen. And it's just I'm here to serve, and whatever you have for me, I'm going to do that.
Mhm.
So,
How has the training that you've gone through for counseling, how has the training equipped you for later in life and for what you're going to be doing on later?
so I definitely say the training was just this. Specifically, when I first got here 3 years ago, the training was almost this shock to me, where it was like I realized that I was surrounded by people who were far more spiritually mature than me and just way more knowledgeable about spiritual things than I was, and that kind of like drove me to really dive deeper, and have a deeper relationship. So in terms of that, like it has just grown my relationship with the Lord exponentially, and so that's really changed my life, and it's also kind of given me various experiences that kind of like help me better discern the will of the Lord for my life. Of just I've had opportunities to preach and minister to these kids and give devotion times, and just kind of like how the Lord has led through that. But I mean, I really, as a counselor, a lot of the training that we get is just it's solidly applicable for all stages of life. Like you learn how to like decisively and clearly share the gospel, and so I think that's just like I think that's a huge thing that all Christians that are seeking to serve the Lord and share the gospel. Like that's a huge thing. It's just knowing how to share it and cater it specifically, not that the message changed, but in your delivery to different people, and knowing where they're at spiritually.
Hmm. Transitioning to the off season, you have much experience there. Why should um, people who have worked the summer at camp consider staying on for 9 more months throughout the fall and spring?
Um, I would say it's definitely not super cut out for everybody. People have different areas that they're at in life. I had the opportunity that it was available for me to just kind of skip a year of school and be here for a whole year, and just work through that and serve through that. But I would, if it is a possibility, if there's any kind of room for like, well, I can kind of put school off for a little bit or whatnot, or I've even seen several cases of people where it's just like I have nothing to do and I've been praying for the Lord to give me something to do, and oh, the fall's here and I can work and I can serve. But I mean, it's really, even like compared to the summer, it's a deeper level of service because you are doing more, and you are, in terms of like, you are doing more work, like more jobs, but also like more quantity of work. Like it's really like there's a lot of responsibility in that, and it's a deeper and different level of work and service that you really, during the summer, it can the summer can be more of like a social event sometimes, where it's like people are just interacting with each other, and there's different distractions or motives or whatever behind that. But I think the fall is like truly like, I can say I am here to serve, I'm here to work, I'm here to glorify the Lord, and I'm here to help facilitate the work of the Lord through this ministry.
Hmm. Now, you've had a unique opportunity this past off season. A local church that you attend, they are in between pastors. So tell us a little bit about the opportunity you've had there.
Yeah, so last summer, well, actually, I guess I could start before last summer, right around May, their pastor ended up moving away from the church, and they were working towards, filling the pulpit while they're in the whole pulpit committee trying to find a pastor role. And so Mr. Thad, he came to a couple of us counselors from last year, some of the guy counselors, and he was asking if we wanted the opportunity to fill the pulpit one week during the summer. And so I said yes. I was, as the head counselor, I felt like I was kind of the person that should step forward and do something like that. So a couple of us agreed to it. I said yes, and that was the first real experience that I had like ever working towards a message and building a sermon. And so it was kind of, getting my toes in the water a little bit, figuring out how that works. And I ended up preaching the first time there in August of last year, so right about a year ago now. Um, and I was incredibly nervous, and I was incredibly like out of my comfort zone, and I didn't at that time I didn't really like know what I'm doing. I wouldn't even still say like I know what I'm doing, but the Lord has definitely shown grace in just providing and blessing, not the words that I say, but like through His word, and just really softening hearts. But I had the opportunity going forward from that. I guess I didn't scare them away, so they asked me to come back and do it again, and that kind of just became a monthly thing where I would just figure out with my schedule, figure out with their schedule, and then come in and preach once a month. And um, started a series through First Peter at the beginning of this year in January, and it was just, I don't know, just really getting like a lot of like solid life experience, and even kind of seeing like, okay, well, is this preaching thing something that I could, is this where the Lord's leading me in my life, and just kind of like, and even the preaching opportunity that I've had there, obviously the people have been such a blessing there at Victory. They are such an encouragement, and they're just a tremendous group of people. Actually, this past Sunday I preached, and it was kind of like my send off Sunday there, so that was kind of emotional. But it just is, in terms of spiritual growth, having to work during the fall and having weeks of I have zero downtime. I am constantly doing something, and I have to preach Sunday. So just kind of like finding that little like wiggle room in there of like, okay, I have like maybe 5 minutes to look over this passage one more time, and just like the stress and the pressure that it kind of puts on you. But it's a good stress. It's a good pressure, forcing you to trust in the Lord, lean in the Lord, and use your time wisely and fruitfully. Um, that growth that comes from that, I think, is really just it's unmatched by really anything. Just kind of real dependence and real reliance, and just using your time wisely and truly just like seeking to more deeply understand the text.
Hmm. What is what has been a unique spiritual growth opportunity you've had this summer? Either helping a camper that something really stood out to you when you were counseling someone, or for yourself. What is something that has been unique this summer spiritually?
Specifically for me, what I think of is, um, so I ended up actually only having a cabin of guys 3 weeks this summer. The rest of the time, I was kind of floating head counselor over everybody a little bit. For those 3 weeks, two of those weeks were teen weeks, and I specifically I enjoy teen weeks to a different level because I feel like that's a stage of life that I was just in, um, not too long ago, and I feel like I've learned a lot of lessons and I've gone through a lot of trials and situations that has grown my testimony in a way that I can really pour into those guys. And those two separate weeks of teen guys, I just had some really incredible devotions with them. Specifically, the Tuesday night devotion that I'd have with them, talking about relationships and how you're supposed to act and how you shouldn't act, and different things with that. Um, just those conversations and being forthcoming with them. They appreciate you being forthcoming and just really sharing your heart. And I felt like I was able to share my heart to a level with them that I've never really even done before with other people. And just like really like having a true desire, like I don't care like what I say if it embarrasses me, if it's like beneficial for you in any kind of way or can keep you from repeating my mistakes, then it's valuable. Then it's
Mm.
worth it. And so just being able to pour into them and to share with them things that I had gone through and things that I don't want them to have to go through, mistakes I don't want them to have to repeat. And then just their, it was just really special, their soft heartedness to that it was just very, they would seek me out after that and be like, hey man, that really like, that's really got me thinking, like, can we talk a little bit more about that? Like, that's what you want to see as a counselor. That's just
Hmm.
like such a special thing. And even like through speaking with them and counseling them in that way, I'm getting counseled through it as well. So the Lord really just kind of like, he has a way of counseling you through counseling as well.
Cool. To wrap up this interview, what has been your favorite experience this summer, spiritual or not, during the week or not?
um I we are here, for the campers. We are here to serve the campers, and we are here to encourage spiritual growth in their life. And I don't want to downplay that at all. But I just enjoy the ministry opportunity that exists with the staff.
Hmm.
Even just so there's not a ton of downtime on the weekends. Sometimes there's more than others. Sometimes we'll have some kind of family camp or something, and it kind of takes up a little bit of our downtime. But I just, this summer specifically, just really, before the summer started, I've been here and I was involved with that and the finding the staff and working through that kind of process, and just praying over the staff and having these hopes and desires of like, these are things that I don't want to see in the staff this year. These are things that I do want to see in the staff this year. So really specifically this summer coming into it with a mindset of like, I'm the guy that's been around. I'm one of the veterans ish here. And so like these are things that I want to push for in the staff, and really seeing like just like I've never seen before, just a really special like group of staff, like unity and a lack of cliquishness, and just like that's like the things that I had prayed for and hoped for. And it was just really beautiful to see this summer just how much everybody just kind of got along together. And it wasn't like this group and that group, it was just like everybody was just one big group, and that's really what I wanted to see.
Very cool. All right. Well, thank you for your ministry this summer and the past few summers and falls and winters and all the time that you spent here. And thank you for letting me interview you.
Absolutely, thank you, sir.
Thank you for listening to the Anchorage Podcast. If you would like to learn more about the Anchorage Christian Camp, visit our website, anchoragecamp.org. If you have questions or podcast suggestions, please email info@anchoragecamp.org. May God be glorified. Hebrews 6:19, which hope we have as an anchor of the soul, both sure and steadfast, and which entereth into that within the veil.